Hello and welcome to All My Art and Soul. I'm Michelle Holden, and this week is part 2 of the exploring and creating new collage papers from last week. So since it's all the same, I'm saying that it's part 2. There are the papers, and this is the very first attempt using those papers. I plan to keep on going, and that'll be next week's video. I do believe after all is said and done, in the last couple of days working with these collages, trying to get cohesion and different things, and I am really trying to push myself. Simple is best. So I'm going to have a new approach next week. So please come back next week and also stay to the end of this week's video. Feeling no matter how I'm starting, I'm ending up in using blues. I have this blue thing going on, and I'm just going to let it go. I'm just going to go with it. So starting with nickel azo gold, and this is a 100-pound Strathmore, what is it? Bristol, smooth. And I do believe in the end it is sturdy enough just for this type of purpose, exploring and not using really expensive materials, but trying to get the collage papers just right, as you can see. So as you start something that's you're new to, it really does take time to get used to, well, what is it? What is the cohesion? There's so much to consider. And when we are considering new stuff like this, we tend to overthink. So, and in all honesty, I had a page that I had already. It was too long. I thought, you know what? I've got to do another one. I really disliked it. It was so busy because I was focusing on overthinking on transparency and layers. But didn't realize that I didn't have a simple enough, let's say, approach, selection of materials. Anyway, it wasn't that clear. And that's okay, because when we're exploring, things don't necessarily have to be all that clear. But anyway, back to these two. And I thought, well, rather than working on one page, let's do two at the same time, and let's make them similar, but yet, different. Similar energy, and I think I achieved that at least. But as you can see here, I'm loving the circles which were created on jelly plate, just neutral gray, and then on top, I'm liking to put another layer. So I'm learning that I do like more complex collage papers, and I'm going to make another set. Probably still use pieces of that page that you saw, so you can go back and to that and look at them. And I will be, in the near future, of course, once it's clear to me, sharing this in some lessons. I don't know if I'll go as far as a course, but I definitely will get back at it. And then you can also join me in my Facebook group, where I will give and be using more formal tutorials. So as you can see, I like the circles. It's the same concept, but it didn't really go. So I thought, okay, so I'm picking up the blue, the orange, and the neutral, and I know I use that color a lot, but still, that's okay. I still haven't explored it as far as I can. So using my color shaper here, and just putting that secondary color down, the complement of the warm orange, which is blue, and I love blue and orange, but there's so many different ways to use them. You can go really light, dark, midtones, and then of course with your black contrast. And where is the focal point here on these 2 pages? That's another thing. It's developing, I must say. I think it's getting there. I'm not using images per se in these particular explorative pages, but I plan to do that maybe even next week if I dig around and go through my new resources, and I'll show you some real gems that I found. So this blue is a combination of the light blue and they're both Liquitex, and the turquoise from Liquitex. One is fluid, one is the basics, the more of the heavy, it's a heavier body. I'm really liking the dark collage, which contrasts with those circles. I don't think it was part of the collage that I created together in the one sitting, but it still went with it. And having fun using the tissue paper, tracing paper, deli paper, and I think that's it for the transparency. I wanted to try your traditional deli paper. There it is. There's those circles that I was referring to. I really enjoyed creating the other ones on that angle because it was sort of like writing. It was very, very, very therapeutic. So here comes the contrast. And I'm wanting to put it in different areas, maybe in 3s. And as you can see, I'm doing one side is horizontal, one is vertical. And those don't actually stay, but you do see some of them, some pieces of it later on. So stay to the end. And if you're new here, hello, welcome. I'm just showing and sharing my journey with everyone as I'm exploring and learning as I go. I've been doing this for a while now. And I know other video channels are, everybody's so different. Everybody's, they do their channel in a year and off they go with their courses. I don't know. I take time to process things. Plus, I don't have the time during the year as I'm still a full-time teacher and very dedicated to that. So, the summertime is my time to enjoy or, add a lot of pressure and say, oh no, I've got to get this done, and this done, and then don't enjoy my summer. Well, you know what? I can't do that. So I can only let it develop as fast as I can let it without being stressed, because being stressed is no good. As you can see, I'm just sort of, I've got some old music pages that I found at my old bookstore, under $1 a piece. And I love how the paper is, I just, whatever, classical. I just like the notes. There's no meaning there at all. And then this piece that I'm gluing on now is a piece of newsprint, of course, the newsprint pads that you buy, and just with blues and yellows and manganese, I believe, and just using a brush, going it around. I was thinking like maps or roads or something. And there's this piece, which I did the circles right over top of another collage piece. And I think there's a whole journey in creating collage papers that really speak to you, that have your marks, your personality. And I'm getting there. I still see that I am emulating some other artists that I love. I love their techniques. But the more you show up, the more I play and keep up with my art journaling, of course, as well as all my mixed media and all my stuff on canvas, which is a whole different kind of thing. What do you think? Do you think of if you're painting on a canvas as an extremely large art journaling page, or is it a completely different process? Mine, I think I want to simplify with my marks, patterns and lines and colors. And see the direction and the jumbling here. It doesn't go. The energy is working against. There's a force there with those circles. Now, since it works here because they're gracefully going in the one direction, and those other bigger circles on top are just sort of vertical. It's incredible, all of these things, and we can overthink, and maybe circle to circle isn't the best collage combination. And I'm wanting to, I finally got my joint compound to make my small little dots of white that can go over top. Still haven't figured out how I want to use them, but if you haven't checked out Catherine Rain's collage kickstart, and then she has collage joy. This isn't, I'm not just saying, but this is where I learned some of the collage techniques, and still searching for my mark. What about you? This isn't bad. Now they do, once I let the pages sit overnight, and I may add a one piece on top, but then these 2 pages do get a little busy, but watch what I do to calm them down a little bit. Now I could have went neutral, I could have went white, I went a little more blue, and of course my black. I love the contrast and the feel. I guess I like how it relates to the blue, the cosmos, galactic, or whatever that feeling is. That's where I'm at. So, and I love this page here. That's with the turquoise, manganese, light blue, different combinations of blues I was using with my brayer, along with black, and just rolling it on and just using that as a piece of collage. I think those are the best. There's something said about not even overthinking your collage. Okay. So I'm trying to make sure I don't go off camera too much when I'm doing things, so you can see what I'm doing. Now this really helped weight down, and what it's also doing as I add more blue in the bottom, in all of my other thinking here, we need, and you've heard me say it lots of times before, the horizontal areas need to all be different, and the best is odd numbers. So let's see, the one on the left has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, awesome. And this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, oh, they both have 5. One's really big, and then once you change the values, then it becomes one larger shape with all these other differences going on. And that's how it ended up. I ended up bringing cohesion into this piece. And I really believe I love working with horizontal and rectilinear. You see what I'm doing? See, I'm interfering with that now, right there. That's the spot, right there. It needs to go there because then it doesn't interfere with the composition that I already have. Still a little wide, narrowing it down, and then it just blends right in there. So even though you're making horizontal areas, changing them up within is a great idea, is a great way to add variety, subtle value. And then I do one more. If you wait and watch to the end, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, please and thank you. Glazing. So I could have glazed with manganese blue because it's the most transparent and beautiful. I could have also glazed, brought in a whole other blue of Payne's gray, but maybe added a little of the turquoise to it. So I will experiment with that. So it takes some of the beige away. It pushes and pulls. So you've got the pushing and pulling at the end. And there's that paper again. I love it. So see how it's contrasting? It's very geometric compared to the organic roundish shapes with the very rough brush. And I'm moving it over there because I like cropped. I like things to be cropped, go past the edge. And of course, threes are great. Yes, it works down there. And of course, I use the other piece, but in a completely different way. Or maybe not completely different, but in a different way. It's wider, the circles are there, and then I add a pattern to this one to change it up. Yeah, see, so adding that black, continuing that black horizontal strip right across, brings the shape or defines the area of those rough organic circles. That's just the clear glue, the heavy gel medium that I use. And as you can see, I'm coating it as I go. It really protects, especially the newsprint, which is very absorbive. It absorbs a lot more. Still working on that word. Yeah, and then that, with those really neat, that's just writing with a brush. And I need to make more of that. So I think this week I'm going to take what I've learned from this lesson, and I hope you do too, and try it, and really search out the types of collage papers that really speak to you, and then work with them, and then you slowly eliminate ones that don't speak to you, then you add, and then the whole goal is to simplify your collage papers, at least mine is. And as you can see, I thought, well, it doesn't matter. I don't know if white will work, black will work, or blue. I was with white, now it's way too busy because of the contrast down there. And it also interrupts that shape, which is a really nice, large, heavy, rectilinear area, horizontal area. So then I come in with the black, and then this area still isn't finished. I come in with another layer. That's really cool how that changed it up. It's cool. It's too busy. I end up covering it up. But you see how we can discover things. And we're not calling them mistakes. We're calling them discoveries. I'm not going there. What do you call your things that don't turn out so well? I discovered that it didn't work. I discovered that it did work. Trying to be positive as much as I can. So then I decided, okay, yeah, black is, of course, because of all the really cool black that's lit throughout these two pages. And I tried adding some more white, and all it did was make it too busy because there's already enough lighter tone with the neutral. Probably adding a little white or lighter already in the neutral areas could have worked. But I think I don't need to do that. I love the transparency of those lines on the deli paper or tissue paper, I think it is, right where my hand is, right on the left side of the music. And then we end up glazing those down. And all of a sudden the work just pulls together. It's really interesting how it does that. And when you're right in the middle of it, it's tricky. Using the white china marker, didn't really need those lines. They don't notice that they don't really do anything. They don't add, they don't take away, actually. So then I go in with something stronger. Those help, definitely. Just another layer, it pushes that back. Adds that other shape, and I love these. And I didn't do them for the other one because I, of course, want those to be different. So, interesting. I like that. Not too much. It's white, but it's a different kind of line. And I just see that pink, but it just stands out like it's just a bright flashlight. So we don't need any of that. So you can just lift it, and just that little mark is sort of interesting. But that gets covered up anyway. As you can see, above where I'm working now, the lighter horizontal area under the music, that piece gets covered up with more of that writing. And I really like it because they both have the same writing, or same kind of page, but one's horizontal and one's vertical. And that's just a nice difference. As you can see, I used the yellow tape because I knew if I didn't know how long this was going to sit around, this one. And here comes the glazing. And it really, really helps out. So, what's the takeaway of this one? Simplifying. Maybe 4 smaller pieces would have been better. Just using the collage papers with just a little bit of paint and stenciling. Maybe that's the takeaway. And they would have been, I guess, these are 9 by 10 or 8 by 10. 4 by 5s. Same ratio, but interesting little pieces. I'm sort of liking that size, especially putting them in a mat and then a beautiful black frame. So I'm experimenting with, I know that area needs something. So I put that there. As you can see, it helps that piece. It brings the plane of that piece of collage on the left across, but then it needs more help. And then I finally realized, oh yeah, liking that. Tried the dots, but all they did was distract. They're just not the right kind of dots. They needed to be, I don't know. So I'm looking for so I changed my mind. Nope. They needed to be the ones I made from my stencil, the Stencil Girl dots that I use all the time. I love those. There it is. I put it through a real good cleaning, but ended up a couple of the holes tearing, but it's okay. So there was so much paint on it, it was ridiculous. So now, way too busy. And that's okay, because we're going to cover that up anyway. I just love when you can just let things go. Okay. So I realize that this big area, I needed some light. I needed some contrast. And then, of course, when you react to different things, so now I'm just covering that up and really not worrying about it. But as I'm making it a lighter value, it starts coming together in the area above. But then down below, I change the lower right-hand corner. So now I'm looking for some black and white. And I thought, whoa, that's way too, and it just doesn't relate to, finally, I figured it out. So there it is over there. And as I narrow it down, the marks are really interesting. And it just needs a little bit more of a trim. Nice. Beautiful. Okay, so that's going there. And so I hope everyone is enjoying their summer. I know some of you, the weather is just crazy. I used to live in Halifax and loved that city. I lived above the Bedford Basin, and I don't know if any of you, it's just crazy weather. They've had a real serious, I think 200 millimeters of rain in a short time. Our weather is so up and down. But there we are. So I put the glazing in, left that lighter, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next week.